Hi from New York. Behind me you can see Carnegie Hall. This is one of the most famous concert venues in the world. Andrew Carnegie was one of the wealthiest people in the beginning of the 20th century. He was actually the wealthiest man on the planet at that time for some years. And today I will tell you 5 steps how to become extremely successful starting with 0. I will use the example of Andrew Carnegie, who as a poor immigrant from Ireland became, after many years, the richest person on the planet. And in his childhood, he established the basis of that success. And I will tell you what he did in his childhood in order for later to become such a great success. I needed to move to Central Park because it was just too noisy there. Andrew Carnegie was a poor immigrant from Ireland. He came here with his family and they lived in poverty at the beginning and they struggled to survive. Nevertheless, he developed to one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the history of America and became, for some years at the beginning of the 20th century, the richest person on the planet. And Andrew Carnegie is, so to say, the intellectual father of my book project, because he had this idea that entrepreneurial success is not just the business model. It has a lot to do with the personality of the entrepreneur himself. And he was the one who gave Napoleon Hill the mission to talk to the wealthiest people in the States at that time and to find out how they think and to construct the first philosophy of entrepreneurial success. And what I do is more or less the same idea on the global scale. So I write about self-made billionaires, the richest people on the planet, the best entrepreneurs, how they think in order to achieve such an extraordinary success in business. So why I'm talking today about Andrew Carnegie? I often get questions and comments along the lines, okay, you talk about these wealthiest people, most successful entrepreneurs, you talk for entrepreneurs, to entrepreneurs, but what if I am at the beginnings, how to start? I haven't even started. What should be my first steps? What should I do at first? So I decided to record that video and to tell you the first steps you need to take, and taking as an example Andrew Carnegie and what he did as a child in his youth in order to create a basis for his later extreme success. So let's start. What are the steps you need to take? The first step is to become useful to people, to your employer, to people around. Why is it so important? You should always deliver more than it is expected from you. Then you will be noticed, and then people, when they see you are engaged, you are helpful, you want to achieve something, they will give you better jobs, better responsibility, and there will be just more opportunities in your life. In the case of Andrew Carnegie, he started actually to work with his father in a factory. I think he was 12 or 13, but as a boy for everything, right? To sweep the floors, to bring that and so on. Really lousy job for, I think, $1 a week, which he was proud of because he could somehow help the family to survive. He could provide his part to the family budget, so it made him proud and he felt useful, and he wanted to develop to be able to sustain his family. But thanks to that attitude, he could get several job offers in a matter of months and could change jobs and step up to better jobs in a matter of several months. After working in this factory, he became a steam engine operator, which was also a hard job and dirty job and very noisy job, unhealthy job, but it paid better. It paid, I think, $1.50 a week. Then he became right hand and a scriber for his boss, because he could actually write. He came from Ireland, and Ireland was very progressive at that time and had obligatory elementary education for children. So he came, could write, could read, and he had actually a nice readable scripture. So that's why his boss employed him in order for him to write bills, to write letters, and so on. And that job, it was more in an office, and he could actually earn more. I think he earned like $2 a week. So the first step is to be useful. It is even better if you are so useful that you are irreplaceable. This, of course, leverages your power, your influence, right? The second step is to get access and surround yourself with successful people, with people you want to become. I had an extra video on that topic here. You can find it. In the case of Andrew Carnegie, the turning point or the key event in his youth was when he became a messenger. At that time, the main communication method was telegraph, and telegrams were the best method to deliver messages fast in business. It meant these messages were telegraphed from one post station to another post station, or telegram station to another telegram station, and then they were printed out or written down, and they were delivered by these messengers to the recipients. And Andrew Carnegie became a messenger for that service. It was in a suburb of Pittsburgh. Why was it important? It was expensive, right? So only business people, high-level executives, and also business owners, rich, wealthy people, entrepreneurs, could afford these services. So he delivered these messages, and he had direct contact to them. And of course, he used small talk in order to get to know them, to acquaintance them, and maybe win their sympathy. And then there were cases where, because he knew the people, the recipients, could deliver the telegram on the street, which was considered a success or a feat for the boys because it took less time, and it was also very useful for the recipient because he could get the message earlier when he was out of office. Otherwise he would get it in the evening, maybe on the other day, right? So these people then awarded him, of course, he won their sympathy and he won their respect somehow. And it helped him later. You know, when you have this access to these people, you picked up how they think, you have these contacts, can speak them up, ask them about advice, about things you have, and later there are a lot of opportunities around that. When there are maybe vacant jobs, they may speak you up and give you that job, right? Or they may inform you about business opportunity out of sympathy, right? Or ask you to join them in an enterprise or something, right? So the second step is get access and surround yourself with successful people. Next step, third step, is read. Read. Oscar Wilde said, a person who doesn't read has no advantage over a person who can't read. So you are no better than an analphabet if you can read but don't read, right? In the case of Andrew Carnegie, he had access to a library owned by a businessman, by a wealthy man in his town, and this man made it available for working boys to read his books, right, in his house, in his private library, and he played librarian for these boys. The boys who didn't have higher education, didn't have also high school education, and Andrew Carnegie was considered one of them and could read books from his library. And he did it diligently, and this is what he considers one of the keys for his success, because the books gave him access to ideas, to the big world, and also sparkled his imagination. And he deemed it so important in his career that later, when he became extremely rich, he established 3,000 public libraries across America, and I think also in Ireland and Great Britain. So this is really, really important. If Andrew Carnegie, who achieved so much, says reading is the key element in becoming successful in life, in becoming something in life, you really should do it. So the third element, reading. The first step is to take responsibility, to take the lead. What does it mean? In the case of Andrew Carnegie, there were several messenger boys, and there was the need to somehow organize the work of them, to represent them, and so on. So Andrew Carnegie said, "It is me. I will do it." So he not only organized the schedule of the boys, he not only managed them, but he also hired new messengers, and he also, and this may be the most important point, managed and distributed the tips they became. There was this conflict among the boys for the so-called 10-cent telegrams. All the telegrams were fees for telegrams for the core area of the town, but for the outer area, the recipient was obligated to give a tip of at least 10 cents to the messenger boy for the longer way, right? So this was very attractive for the messenger boys. Imagine he was earning like $2.50 a week at that time. So if you deliver two extra messages, like this long way messages a day, 5 days a week, you get $1 extra. It's a big money for like 40% of your wage, right? So it was very attractive for the boys, and there were always conflicts who gets the long way telegrams and delivers them. And Andrew Carnegie solved that problem and said, let's do it this way. Let's work for together, put these tips together, and then we will distribute them. So the fights immediately ceased, and the conflict was solved, and Andrew Carnegie proved his leading skills. This is, so to say, the fourth point: take responsibility, start to manage other people, to lead other people. For that, you need, of course, to have trust of them, right? And they need to be willing to give the lead to you, right? So also the sympathy and the respect. It was the fourth point. Take responsibility, take the lead. And the fifth point is acquire unique knowledge, unique skills. In the case of Andrew Carnegie, it was a time where most businesses were working on a single entry accounting. And of course, double entry accounting is superior. It gives you more transparency in your business, more control over your business. And And Andrew Carnegie, imagine, in the age of 14, went to acquire this knowledge, this double entry knowledge, went to a course, to a seminar, and learned to do that. And this gave him an edge in the later life, in his later career, over his competitors, over other people, because he had an important skill in business which not many people had at that time. And I think in our times this will be some maybe technology skill, some new paradigm, some new technology which you can learn, which you can acquire, and which is so unique that it can give you an advantage over other people who don't know about that, or maybe even are afraid of that technology, and of using that technology, of learning that. It's maybe too abstract for them, or seems too difficult. So these are the steps Andrew Carnegie took in his youth that allowed him to become so extremely successful later in life. Of course, there are much more steps later, but these are the first steps I have observed or extracted from his youth. Of course, based also on the stories I have been told from the 25 billionaires I have interviewed. So that's it for today. If you want to learn more about what to do, how to think in order to become extreme success in life, in business, how the most successful entrepreneurs, the richest people in the world think, subscribe here. And here you will find one of my best videos. That's it. Thank you, and see you from New York.